Secrets and Shadows. Unveiling the truth about U.S. border operations. The United States southern border is a place of stark contrasts, where vast landscapes meet complex human stories. It's a region shrouded in secrecy, where billions of dollars are poured into operations that often evade public scrutiny. This essay pulls back the curtain on these secret U.S. border operations, revealing a system rife with questionable effectiveness, human rights concerns, and a lack of transparency. We'll delve into the financial black hole of immigration enforcement, where billions of taxpayer dollars disappear into a system that struggles to demonstrate tangible results. We'll explore the human cost of these policies, from the tragic loss of life at the border to the erosion of civil liberties in the name of security. This is a story of government overreach, technological failures, and a growing disconnect between the stated goals of border security and the reality on the ground. It's a story that demands attention, accountability, and a renewed commitment to humane and effective immigration policies. The price of security: billions spent, yet questions remain. The U.S. government has spent an astronomical sum on immigration enforcement since the creation of the Department of Homeland Security in 2003. This department was established in the wake of the September 11th attacks, with the primary goal of safeguarding the nation from various threats, including illegal immigration. Over the years, the budget allocated to this department has grown exponentially, reflecting the increasing emphasis on border security. Hundreds of billions of dollars have been funneled into border security measures, including physical barriers, surveillance technology, and a massive expansion of Border Patrol agents. These measures are intended to create an impenetrable barrier against illegal crossings and to monitor vast stretches of the border with advanced technology. The construction of the border wall alone has been a significant financial undertaking, with costs running into billions of dollars. This financial commitment reflects a deep-seated belief that more money equals more security. The idea is that by investing heavily in border security, the government can effectively deter illegal immigration and protect the nation's borders. However, this approach has sparked a heated debate about the true efficacy of such spending. However, the effectiveness of this spending spree remains dubious at best. Critics argue that despite the enormous financial outlay, the results have been underwhelming. There are numerous reports of surveillance equipment lying unused, gaps in the border wall, and empty surveillance towers. These issues raise questions about the efficiency and oversight of the border security programs. Despite the construction of hundreds of miles of border walls, the deployment of sophisticated surveillance drones, and a surge in Border Patrol personnel, undocumented immigration persists. The border wall, often touted as a key deterrent, has not been able to completely stop illegal crossings. Similarly, surveillance drones and increased patrols have not been able to fully address the issue. This raises serious questions about the return on investment for taxpayers, and whether these costly measures are actually making the border more secure. Taxpayers are left wondering if their money is being well spent, or if it could be better utilized elsewhere. The debate over the effectiveness of border security spending is not just a political issue, but a financial one that impacts every citizen. The billions spent on border enforcement could be used to address other pressing issues, such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Schools in need of repair, overcrowded hospitals, and crumbling infrastructure are just a few examples of areas that could benefit from increased funding. The opportunity cost of border security spending is a significant consideration that often gets overlooked in the broader debate. Instead, these funds are being poured into a system that often seems more focused on symbolism and political posturing than on achieving meaningful results. Political leaders frequently use border security as a rallying cry, promising tough measures to protect the nation. However, the actual outcomes of these measures are often less impressive than the rhetoric suggests. The question remains, how much are we willing to spend on a border security strategy that may not be working? As the debate continues, it is crucial to critically evaluate the effectiveness of current measures and consider alternative approaches that might offer better results for the same or even less financial investment. The future of border security depends on finding a balance between effective protection and responsible spending. Ghosts of projects past, the virtual fence and other costly failures. The quest for technological solutions to border security has led to some spectacular and expensive failures. Over the years, Various administrations have poured billions of dollars into high-tech projects hoping to create an impenetrable digital barrier. These initiatives, while ambitious, often fell short of their lofty goals, leaving behind a trail of wasted resources and unfulfilled promises. One such example is the virtual fence, a billion-dollar project that promised to use sensors and cameras to create a digital barrier along the US-Mexico border. The idea was to have a seamless, high-tech solution that could detect and deter illegal crossings without the need for a physical wall. It was envisioned as a state-of-the-art system that would revolutionize border security. Despite years of development and massive investment, the virtual fence project was ultimately scrapped due to technical glitches, cost overruns, and its inability to meet its stated objectives. The sensors often malfunctioned, cameras failed to provide clear images, and the system was plagued by software issues. These problems rendered the virtual fence ineffective and unreliable. This expensive debacle highlights the dangers of relying on untested technologies and the tendency to prioritize quick fixes over comprehensive solutions. The virtual fence was not just a financial failure but also a strategic one, as it diverted attention and resources from more viable and sustainable approaches to border security. Another costly failure was the autonomous surveillance tower project. These towers, equipped with cameras and sensors, were intended to provide 24/7 surveillance of remote border regions. The concept was to have an automated system that could monitor vast stretches of the border without human intervention. These towers, equipped with cameras and sensors, were intended to provide 24/7 surveillance of remote border regions. However, the project was plagued by technical problems, including false alarms and an inability to distinguish between animals, humans, and shifting weather patterns. The technology was not sophisticated enough to handle the complexities of real-world conditions. However, the project was plagued by technical problems, including false alarms and an inability to distinguish between animals, humans, and shifting weather patterns. These issues led to frequent false positives, causing unnecessary deployments of Border Patrol agents and wasting valuable resources. The towers also struggled to operate effectively in harsh weather conditions, further limiting their utility. These high-profile failures demonstrate the limitations of technology as a silver bullet for border security. While advanced systems can play a role in enhancing security, they cannot replace the need for well-trained personnel, robust infrastructure, and comprehensive strategies. The reliance on technology alone often leads to overconfidence and underestimation of the challenges involved. They also underscore the need for greater accountability and oversight in the procurement and implementation of these costly systems. Without rigorous testing, transparent evaluation, and continuous improvement, such projects are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. Effective border security requires a balanced approach that integrates technology with human expertise and strategic planning. A human toll. The devastating cost of life and liberty. The human cost of U.S. border policies is perhaps the most tragic and often overlooked aspect of this issue. Every year, countless individuals embark on perilous journeys, driven by the hope of a better life. They leave behind everything they know, risking it all for a chance at safety and opportunity. But the reality they face is often far harsher than they could have ever imagined. The militarization of the border, coupled with increasingly dangerous routes forced upon migrants, has led to a surge in deaths. The presence of heavily armed patrols and the construction of formidable barriers have pushed migrants into more remote and treacherous areas. These routes expose them to extreme weather conditions, wildlife, and the constant threat of violence from smugglers and other criminal elements. Thousands of men, women, and children have perished, attempting to cross the border, often succumbing to dehydration, heat exhaustion, or drowning in treacherous river crossings. The desert, with its unforgiving heat and lack of water, becomes a graveyard for many. The Rio Grande, a river that symbolizes hope for some, turns into a deadly obstacle for others. Rescue teams often find themselves in a race against time, trying to save lives in an environment that shows no mercy. Beyond the loss of life, the erosion of civil liberties in border communities is another alarming consequence of these policies. Residents in these areas find their daily lives disrupted by constant surveillance and the presence of law enforcement. The sense of community is eroded as neighbors become wary of each other, and the ever-present eyes of surveillance cameras create an atmosphere of distrust. The expansion of Border Patrol checkpoints, which can be located far from the actual border, means that even U.S. citizens are not immune to the invasive scrutiny. These checkpoints often lead to long delays, and the questioning can be intrusive and intimidating. The freedom to travel without fear of being stopped and interrogated is a fundamental right that is being compromised. The use of invasive surveillance technologies, such as drones and advanced camera systems, further infringes on personal privacy. These technologies are capable of monitoring vast areas and can track individuals' movements with alarming precision. The feeling of being constantly watched can be suffocating, and it raises serious concerns about the balance between security and personal freedom. The increased presence of law enforcement has created a climate of fear and suspicion in these regions. For many, the sight of Border Patrol agents and their vehicles is a daily reminder of the ever-present threat of detention and deportation. This heightened state of alertness affects everyone, from undocumented immigrants to longtime residents who feel their communities are under siege. The constant threat of detention and deportation hangs over the heads of millions of undocumented immigrants living in the U.S., creating a climate of anxiety and uncertainty for families and communities. Parents live in fear of being separated from their children, and children grow up with the ever-present worry that their family could be torn apart at any moment. This fear permeates every aspect of their lives, from going to work to attending school. The human cost of these policies is immeasurable, measured in shattered dreams, broken families, and the erosion of fundamental rights. The stories of those who have suffered are a stark reminder of the need for compassion and humanity in our approach to border security. As we navigate the complexities of immigration policy, we must never lose sight of the individuals whose lives are at stake. Their hopes, dreams, and rights deserve to be protected and respected.